You're still going to the gym, running the same program that you've ran for years, same discipline, you haven't stopped. But something shifted and you noticed it, maybe before you wanted to admit it. You're losing muscle that you didn't used to lose. You're carrying weight that you did not used to carry. And the effort that you're putting in is just not producing what it used to produce. The inputs did not change, but the outputs did. And that gap, it has a clinical explanation. This video is about testosterone. Specifically, it's about what happens to your body when your testosterone levels fall below the level that your body needs it to be at in order to function the way that it was designed to function. And what that means for everything from how you recover to how you think to how you show up. This is not about performance enhancement, and it certainly isn't about bodybuilding. This is about a hormone that every man depends on and what happens when it's not there. Here's how testosterone works in plain language. Testosterone is primarily made in the testes, and it's regulated by a signaling loop from the brain all the way down to where it's ultimately made. It doesn't just drive libido, though that's the one that most people know about. Testosterone governs lean muscle maintenance. It also governs fat distribution. It plays a role in red blood cell production, bone density, and even cognitive function. When levels start to fall below 300 nanograms per deciliter, and that threshold is important because it's where the clinical literature connects low levels to symptoms. The system starts showing strain. Not all at once, but gradually, which is why it's so easy to miss and why it's so easy to attribute to something else. So what does that actually look like? You wake up tired after a full night's sleep. That used to be a problem that only used to happen when you had 5-hour nights. Now it's every single morning. You're in the gym and your recovery is much slower. You used to bounce back, but now there's a heaviness that's persistent and doesn't fully clear. Your body composition is shifting despite the fact that you haven't changed the way that you're training or the way that you're eating. Fat is accumulating and muscle recovery is just not going the way that it used to. And cognitively, this is the one most men don't talk about. There's a dullness that wasn't there before. There's a lag. That sharpness that made you good at what you do is just not there anymore. Now, these aren't motivational problems. These are symptoms, and they're measurable. The clinical definition of low testosterone is a level of 300 nanograms per deciliter confirmed on at least 2 separate blood draws with presenting symptoms. That second part really matters because the number alone is not enough. It's the number and the symptom picture together. That's what clinicians are actually evaluating. Now, if you've had labs done and you've been told that your testosterone levels are in range, the question worth asking is, in range relative to what? And where exactly did your number fall? Because there's a meaningful difference between testosterone levels of 350 and 680. Both are technically in range, but they're not the same. At Opimus, the approach towards testosterone is clinical and structured. It starts with lab work, total testosterone, free testosterone, hematocrit, and PSA. These panels exist because the decision to prescribe is not made on symptoms alone. It's made on data. A licensed clinician reviews the data, evaluates eligibility, and, if appropriate, builds a protocol. That protocol is not just a prescription that's dropped in the mail. It's a structured plan with follow-up labs at 3 months, dose adjustments based on how your levels respond, and ongoing monitoring. The therapy itself, testosterone cypionate delivered by injection, works by restoring circulating testosterone levels to where they need to be for the body to function correctly. That's the goal. The gap between where you are and where you were is worth investigating. Not because something is wrong with you, but because something might be measurable. And if it is, it's addressable. If what I've described sounds familiar to you, then the first step is lab work. That's it. Everything else follows from the data. You can begin that process with our TRT Companion Panel at opimuslabs.com.